Hi everyone, my name is Rochelle. I'll be the moderator for MapleSoft today. We'll get to Justice's presentation in just a minute. I just wanted to thank you all for being here, and just know that you can use the chat. We'll be having a Q&A with Justice at the end. And we do have an iPad giveaway today. You may have seen that on Justice's TikTok. In order to enter the iPad giveaway, just throw something into the chat. Let us know that you're here. This is no purchase necessary, and YouTube is not sponsoring us. This is just a contest that we're putting together. So yeah, throw your name into the chat. Let us know that you're here. And at the end of the presentation, we'll be drawing a name. If you win, hopefully you win, you will need to email us at webinars@maplesoft.com, and we're going to need proof that you are who you say you are. So in order to do that, we're going to ask that you send in a screenshot of your channel name. It looks something like this. Hopefully you all can see that. So just a screenshot like that to webinars@maplesoft.com, and that with your address, and that will allow us to send you your prize if you win. I'll throw that back on the screen when we draw for the prize again, just in case you didn't see it. Okay, so let's get to Justice's presentation. To avoid any technical issues, Justice did pre-record his session, but he is here for the Q&A, and so I'll just play a video for you that Justice put together, and then we will get to the Q&A at the end.
Hey everybody, welcome to the MapleSoft webinar. I'm going to be your host, Justice Shepherd. Some of you may know me as Justice the Tutor, but pretty much what I'm going to be showing you is this product called MapleLearn. And pretty much what it is it's a math environment for teachers, students, parents, pretty much anybody who is doing some math problems. So what it is it's a built-in calculator, it's a built-in note taker, and it's also a built-in graphing solution for 2D and 3D plots. And pretty much it helps you solve complicated math problems. So I use it a lot in my undergrad. I've definitely talked about it on my TikTok before, but it's a really good tool, and pretty much what I'm going to be walking you through some of my favorite things about it. And at the end, we are doing an iPad giveaway, so definitely stay tuned for that. All you have to do to enter is just watch this YouTube live, and they're pretty much just going to randomly draw from the list of names that are on this YouTube live and pick the winner. So that's pretty much all you have to do. Just tune in to the live stream the entire time, and you'll automatically be entered in the iPad giveaway. All right, so without further ado, let's actually just hop right into MapleLearn. All right, so pretty much I'm going to be walking through some of these examples that MapleLearn provides. So if you go to learn.maplesoft.com/examples, you'll see this screen, and it pretty much gives you a bunch of categories of different types of templates that you can use to see the power of MapleLearn. So I think I'm working through mostly algebra and one calculus example, but there's a whole bunch of examples that you guys can check out on this page, and it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. So if you guys are interested and want to check out some of those examples, they're all there for you. So I'm just going to hop into our first example. All right, so now let's use MapleLearn to look at function transformations. Okay, so this is another template that I'm using, and it gives us a really good starting point on, pretty much the power of MapleLearn. So for right now, we pretty much have f of x as a parent function, and g of x is the transformed function. So f of x is this simple polynomial x cubed plus x squared, and g of x is this pretty much general form that we can use to manipulate what's pretty much happening on the right over here. Okay, so right here we have a as the coefficient on the outside of this f function, and k is going to be this constant term on the outside over here. Okay, so as you can see, when we're adjusting the values of these coefficients, we're actually changing how this blue function works, or this blue function, which is g of x. So the green function is f of x, and the blue function is g of x, and pretty much we're just changing the blue function over here when we're adjusting these values. So as you can see, for different values of a, we're actually going to get a different answer, okay? So as you can see, if we move on to b, which is pretty much the coefficient inside this function, we're changing pretty much the constant multiplier. We're actually kind of changing how fast this function increases and decreases, okay? So this is definitely a really good tool to look at how we can manipulate functions and the relationship between that and different types of constants. So now let's actually take a look at what happens when we manipulate this variable k. So right now it's -5. So if we increase this, we actually see just a vertical shift up and down as we adjust the value of k, okay, because it's on the outside, so it's pretty much just adjusting the value. And over here, if we adjust h, which is the function inside, or not the function, but the variable inside of this over here, x minus h, if we adjust this, we're actually going to get a horizontal shift. So as you can see on the right, we are getting a horizontal shift in our function, and that's from just manipulating this value of h, okay? So pretty much it gives us a really good tool and representation about what's happening in words. So over here, you can give this a little quick read if you're interested, but we pretty much just did the same thing when we were adjusting these variables, okay? So that was definitely really cool, and this is one of my favorite uses of MapleLearn. Alright, so now let's look at a MapleLearn example for quadratic functions. So as you can see, we have solve the function f of x is equal to x squared plus 3x minus 18. Okay, so we're pretty much just going to use MapleLearn to solve these two questions. So find any intercepts, then we're going to complete the square to find the vertex. Okay, so if you take a look at this function f of x, what we pretty much want to do first is just factor it. And I know on the right here, it pretty much has a clear solution for question number 1. The roots are going to be -6 and 3, but we want to try to do it algebraically so that even if we didn't have this graph, we would still know how to do it. So let's take a look. So right here we have x-intercepts. So pretty much what we want to do is we want to take this constant number out here and find the two factors that their sum adds up to this number in here, and their product is -18, which is this constant term out here. Okay, so as you can see, one factor for -18 is just -1 and 18. So the other two factors are -2 and 9 that we can try out. So if we add these two numbers up, we're going to get a sum of 7, and the product is going to be -18 again. So since 7 is not equal to this constant number next to the x, then we have to keep going and find some more factors. So finally, we get to -3 and 6. If we multiply these two numbers together, we get -18, and if we add them up, we get 3, which is this number right next to the x coefficient. So this is actually going to be our factors. So let me just scroll down. So since we know that our factors are 6 and -3, then we can factor the polynomial just by doing x plus 6 and x minus 3, just taking those two numbers. So now that we know what the x-intercepts are, we can pretty much confirm this with MapleLearn. So all you have to do is pretty much type this in, and it can actually just factor it for you. So as you can see, x plus 6 and x minus 3 is actually going to be this factored answer by MapleLearn. And as you can see, we can actually just graph these two. So since these two are the same exact equations, they're actually shown on this plot, and they're actually going to be in the same exact place because they are the same thing. So what we can also do to factor this is pretty much use the quadratic formula. So that's the -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. You should remember that from, I think, early stage in high school. So we can pretty much just use this quadratic formula to solve the exact same thing. So a in this case is the coefficient of x squared, b is going to be the coefficient of this x, and c is going to be this constant term out here. Okay, so if we just plug in all of those variables, we can pretty much just get the same exact thing that we got before, which is -6 and 3. Okay. All right, so now let's take a look at an example with arc length. So pretty much in geometry, an arc length is pretty much a portion of the circle's circumference by a pair of distinct points. What does that really mean? So right here, the arc length is indicated in red. So it's pretty much the distance around this circle when we have some angle in here, theta, which is this yellow line over here. Okay, so as you can see, MapleLearn does give us a little slider, and we can pretty much adjust this angle theta and see how it changes the arc length. Okay, so as you can see, the higher the theta, the bigger the arc length is, and if we choose a smaller theta, then we pretty much get a smaller arc length. So in this circle in particular over here, we have its center at 4, 4, 4, because of these two numbers in here. And the radius is going to be the square root of 36, which is just going to be 6. Okay, so as you can see, as I adjust this theta, the arc length actually gets larger. So if you take a look at this arc length over here, and while we adjust the theta, we're actually going to get a real-time adjustment of the actual arc length, which is really helpful. And this is something that's used a lot in geometry. So if you take a look at the formula over here, so if you have theta in degrees, you can pretty much find the arc length using this formula. But it's a lot easier when the arc length is pretty much defined in radians already. So if we have a theta that's in radians, the arc length is just the angle multiplied by the circle's radius. Okay, so arc length is definitely one of those things that is useful a lot, and it'll become more evident whenever you take a little higher math in calculus and stuff like that. We use this a lot. So this is definitely a really good example, and MapleLearn's graph over here never fails to disappoint, and it gives us a really good idea and illustration of what's actually happening when we increase and decrease this theta, and we can use this on pretty much a multitude of problems. All right, so now let's actually move on to more complicated math using MapleLearn. So we're going to be talking about definite integrals in this case, and as you can see, this is a great little schematic on the right. Pretty much for those of you who aren't taking calculus or need a little bit of a refresh, we're pretty much just trying to find the area under this curve over here, okay? And as you can see, we have a function f of x, which is the green line over here, and we have a function g of x, which is this blue line right here, okay? And the red area pretty much indicates the area under this f of x function, and the blue line, or I should say the green area, represents the area under the g of x function, okay? So MapleLearn gives us a really good way of pretty much visualizing integration. So as you can see, we have a and b, and a and b are pretty much the interval in which we're taking this integral. So as you can see, we have 3 and 5, and a and b are 3 and 5, okay? So as you can see, if I actually lower this integration, you can see that we're going to get a larger and larger area, and we're able to mess with the bounds really easily using MapleLearn, okay? And as you can see, we can actually mess with this outer bound over here, and we can find different areas depending on what we want, okay? So this is one of the things that I really like about MapleLearn, and this is what I use in my undergrad when I'm trying to solve complex integrals. I can pretty much use MapleLearn to visualize and kind of adjust my bounds as needed, okay? So it's a really good tool for that. And this is a really good segue to talk about the step feature for MapleLearn. So if we click on steps right here, it'll actually open up a new window, and it'll tell us all the steps that we need to do to actually integrate this function. So in this case, our bounds a to b are from 3 to 5, and we're integrating this function x squared with respect to x. So pretty much it gives us steps about how to perform this integration, okay? And it gives us kind of a step-by-step thing, and I think this is really helpful. And you can also do this for more complicated integrals, okay? So since this is what we call using the power rule, this is what you learn pretty much the first time you're taking integrals. This is going to be pretty much the easiest integration rule. So as you can see, MapleLearn does a pretty good job at showing all of the steps, and it's really easy to follow. So if you're stuck or you don't want to just depend on a computer to do it all the time, you can use steps to give you a good idea about how to do that on your own. So I think that's a really cool feature. So that's pretty much it for the comparing definite integrals template. So these are just a few of the many things that you can do with MapleLearn. If you guys are interested, go to that page that I talked about in the beginning of the webinar and pretty much just check out some of the examples. It's definitely a powerful tool, and hopefully it helps you guys out.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Justice to come back and do a Q&A. Hey, Justice.
Hey, what's going on?
Pretty good. That was an excellent presentation. Thanks so much. For anyone that was unfamiliar, that is our software MapleLearn. It's for calculus and math and in university, in high school, and it's free to use right now. No sign up required to get started. So we'll start with some questions. you've got quite the fan following here. You've got a lot of people writing in saying that you are the reason they didn't fail their courses. So that's cool. A lot of people saying that they've used Maple Learn before and they really like it. So that's cool. Thank you. Somebody asked a question, and I might have to call on Karishma. She is also on this call. She's the Maple Learn product manager. Somebody asked if it was available in multiple languages. And unfortunately, I'm just not super familiar with the language capability there, Karishma.
Hey, thanks, Rochelle. Justice, that was awesome. And for the question with the languages, yes, it's available in 8 different languages. And if you go to Learn, in the settings, there's a little settings menu, and we have them. Oh my God, am I going to remember all the languages? So English, of course, French, German, Spanish, Russian. I am blanking, but there's 8 or 9 different languages. So take a look, and if there's something you don't see, let us know, and we can look into that in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Karishma.
No problem.
And somebody asked too, just about another question regarding Maple Learn, if it was a subscription type thing. No, well, yes and no. There is a free level. You can start right now for free. There is a premium level that just provides you with a few more options in terms of saving documents and a few additional functions. I'm just going through these questions. Justice, I'm really curious. How did you decide to start to use TikTok to teach math? I'm curious how that started.
I'd love to answer that. So pretty much when like TikTok became like an explosive social media, which was kind of when like COVID hits and a lot more people were staying inside. And I saw that there was a lot on TikTok already, but there was kind of like a lack of education content. And I saw that it was really good if you wanted to be entertained, right? But if you wanted something like a little bit more out of TikTok, you kind of were out of luck. You probably have to go to another website. So I saw that it was pretty much like a niche that nobody really had gone into before. And I know that math was like one of like my least favorite subjects in high school. And for the most part, it's because of the teacher. You know, if they're not excited to teach the subject, then you're not going to be excited to watch and to learn. So I kind of wanted to encourage everybody to look at math in a different way, and it can be enjoyable if you have the right teacher. So that was pretty much my goal, and hopefully I've helped out a lot of people along the way.
Well, as evidence in our chat, it seems like you did. And you can't have expected to sort of blow up like you did, right? I mean, you have what, 1.2 million followers, if I'm right, or
something around there. I was a little confused as well. It kind of came all at once, but the numbers are cool. But as long as some people are enjoying my content, that's what really matters. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, somebody's writing in here that you changed their view on math. So
wow.
that's pretty awesome. Definitely something that we strive for too, and hopefully with using Maple Learn and working with you, we can help change people's perspective on math. And just
absolutely, yeah, you guys are a great company to do it.
Yeah. Oh, you're the best teacher somebody's ever had. So these are some really great comments.
Thank you. I think I've seen that, Jennifer. Thanks, Jenny.
Yeah, so maybe now is a good time to remind people about the giveaway. As you may know, we're giving away an iPad for attending the stream. If you haven't done so already, make sure you throw your name into the chat so we know that you're here. And we'll be drawing for that iPad. It's not sponsored by YouTube. It's no purchase necessary, anything like that. So make sure you do that. What makes, Justice, maybe you can answer this. what makes Maple Learn stand out from other homework? They said homework helping websites / programs.
Yeah, I'd love to help. So one of my favorite things about Maple Learn, and I've done a few videos on my TikTok kind of explaining it, but they also have a really great app on the App Store. It's called Maple Calculator. So for the most part, when I'm like doing any sort of math, either at school or like, for TikTok, I normally check my work. And one of the most popular one is Photo Math, but I like Maple Learn Calculator. I like Maple Calculator just because you're able to integrate it with Maple Learn. So you can take a picture of whatever you're working on, and you can actually just see it on your desktop as well. So that's one of my like favorite things. So it's a really powerful tool if you kind of know how to use it, and it's a great thing because Maple Learn is really easy to use, and so is Maple Calculator. So just the integration between both of those products has been really interesting for me.
Yeah. Somebody asked how you came to learn about Maple Learn, and that would be that we saw your content and we liked what you were doing, and we reached out to you, and we introduced you to Maple Learn and Maple Calculator. I am sorry if you hear my dog in the background. Some people are asking what the difference is. I think we've covered that already. So I think now, and it appears that Justice may be frozen. So maybe we will draw for the iPad now. So just give me a minute to draw the winner. And I do see these other questions coming in, but I think Justice is maybe having some technical issues, so apologies if we can't get to your question. And just as a reminder, if you win the iPad, you'll need to send us an email at webinars@maplesoft.com, and you'll need to include a screenshot of your channel information, which is going to look something like this. And include that with your address and your phone number so we can get your iPad. We just need to verify that it's you, and that's probably the best way to do that. So just bear with me here while I pick a winner. And I'm doing this by a random generator if anybody's curious. Okay, we have a winner. The winner is, I apologize if I mispronounce this name. It is Leah Tadeos. I've put it there on the screen. Hopefully you can see it. Again, I apologize. If I've mispronounced that, Leah Tadeos. Yeah, I see some questions here. The email again, I'll type it into the chat here. It's webinars@maplesoft.com. So Leah, if you could send us an email to that address with your screenshot of your account information, just so we can verify, and with your address and your phone number, and we can get that shipped out to you. Yeah, so congratulations. I'm sorry that Justice appears to have had some technical issues, so you're you're just stuck with me here at the end. But yeah, so I'm just gonna end the stream. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thanks to Justice, if he can hear me out there somewhere, that for his presentation. Thank you to Karishma for answering those questions. Oh, Leah, I see your question. I just typed it into the chat. If you scroll up earlier in the chat, it's just webinars@maplesoft.com. So hopefully there is that. Karishma is wondering if she needs to answer more questions. No, I don't think that you do. So I'm just gonna go, guys. Thank you so much for attending.